What's up, guys? It's your boy J Mecca here, coming at you with another episode of our Painful Master Series. We're gonna start with season 3, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about the season, and we're gonna get right into this deck. So, season 3 happened, and I think we started making some changes to the rotation. This is, I think, the first rotation where we did the week-long spectrum, where we took a week before the next standard set came out for the rotation. We took a week-long snapshot, and if your average price was a penny, then your card made it. So one of the big things, like speculation started happening, and one of the big things that was about to come out was Mind's Desire. Mind's Desire is a terribly broken card. Um, there was a storm, and so in season 2, I did make a storm deck myself. I called it a Locket Storm, and it was a very ghetto version of using Locket of Yesterdays, and we had Frantic Search, and there's no rituals. I didn't have any rituals, so but I basically had Frantic Search and Locket, so that kind of created mana. But once that My Sire came out, the gears were turning. Like this wasn't everybody's radar. Everybody wanted to make My Desire decks, but no one really really followed through. But I did. So when the season started, I had a Mind's Desire deck, and it was very untuned. And so I started streaming at the point, and I was about to play. I wanted to play a Braids deck, so I played this like green-black Braids deck. I just wanted to try it. I had this Storm deck, and it was very untuned. But a viewer of mine, Ironblood, he mentioned that he wanted to play. So I was like, all right, let me just give you this my Storm list. It was a very untuned list. It wasn't like this list that you see right now. And he made second place. He made second place with this crazy untuned deck that still had just 4 Mind's Desire, 4 Lockets, and a couple of Tendrils, and a bunch of other random spells. But yeah, he made second. So we were thinking to ourselves, wow, there's something here. So we kept tuning and we kept tuning, and we got to this crazy list. I think between me and him, we had 2 different lists. I had just different philosophies, and we had most of the same core, which was like Locket, Mind's Desire, and Nightshade Familiar, which are all like mana reductions. But what ended up happening was that Ironblood basically took this list, and every turn we entered, he pretty much won or came in second. So he had a really dominant run in the first part of the season. So he deserves to be in the slot. So we're just gonna go really quick through the mana base. The differences between my list and his list were Golgari Rot Farm, which is one of I think it was like the only sort of like Ravnica bounce land, if you want to say that. And it had 2 mana, and he really liked that with Frantic Search over here. Because you can get a lot of mana that way. I didn't prefer it just because it didn't make blue. And I thought like set you back a turn where it was like too much. So that was just me. That was our main difference in sort of our deck design. Lock Up Yesterdays, it's really good. You're filling up so many spells in your graveyard, and they just become cheaper and cheaper. The more lockets you have to play, the crazier things get. Especially if you have a locket and play a locket in the yard, you can do some crazy thing. You get free lockets. Free spells are just really good at any point. Compelling Deterrence was just kind of a fun one of, because there are some like, by the time this deck got really popular, people would start main decking these like hate cards like Imperial Mask, and Spell Shock was legal. Spell Shock was a mono red card that whenever a player played the spell, they took 2 damage. So you had to and also Comball, that guy, the black-white guy that whenever an opponent plays non-creature spell, we take 2 and they gain 2. So you had to you needed answers. This is for one of the turns. A couple of nagging thoughts kind of filled the yard with spells for Locket, especially strategic playing. That was really big. Take Inventory was one of the Ironblood's really good suggestions. So I didn't have this card initially, but he was like, you should try this, and it was one of the best cards in the deck, especially when you're reducing blue cost with a Nightshade Familiar. Cabal Ritual was first legal this season, season 3, and it just made the deck so much better. Because in season 2, when I made the deck, there was no way to make mana, but Cabal Ritual was just that. I mean, black mana isn't always useful because you really want blue mana most of the time, but you could filter black mana into blue mana with Frantic Search for here. And Frantic Search was another iconic big card in this format. This card would stay in the format for a while until I think season 5. I think season 5 was the first season that it became illegal. So this card was so good for this deck. It was everything you wanted. It made mana, it drew cards, it discarded cards, and it was just too good. Another difference between my list of Storm and his list, Ironblood's list, was pieces of the puzzle. He loved pieces of the puzzle. I found myself whiffing all the time with pieces. So I had like 2 pieces, and he had the full set. It's really good against discard spells because I think him was still in this format, so it was really good to just get back cards with pieces. Tendrils, a signature card here. Turnabout, another like catch-all. Another popular card to beat the deck was Gilded Light. So if you were susceptible to Gilded Light, you would just tap all the lands at the end of the turn, and then you go off on your turn. So the Gilded Light's kind of useless. They have to kind of use it now to fight the turnabout. Maybe you have the second Gilded Light, but they never really did. Since it passed, another Ironblood innovation. Kind of it's like a Snapcaster Mage for spells. And it was a really big card. You could like Sins a Desire, and that was like something nuts you can do. After you're like, if you hit a Sins with Mind's Desire, you could just like Sins to Mind's Desire again and just kind of just chain off with so many spells. It was kind of ridiculous. This card was so ridiculous. I can't tell you how many times you could just win on turn 3 or 4. This was like a turn 3 deck in certain situations. Turn 4 was like almost guaranteed. It was kind of crazy. The sideboard gets a little slower with things. Demir Charm, a good catch-all. It beats the Moor side. It beats a Calm Ball. Or just at worst, it just like looks at a couple cards. Back to Nature was kind of a response to things like Imperial Mask, Spell Shock, things like that. Double Spell Shock was very hard to beat. They kind of need that thing. Hunting Pack, another fun thing. If you, like I said, if you thought about people playing Gilded Light and you didn't really fight against it, you could Hunting Pack, and it seemed really hard to cast, but most of the times you would just Sins it back into play. So, and you can get like 5 guys, and that'd be enough sometimes. So you didn't really need that much. Addle was a good response to the control matchups. Temporal Fissure, again, another way of kind of just like playing more in mid-range kind of style, where you just kind of bounce her stuff and then go off again your next turn. Memory's Journey, I guess it was kind of interesting in the mirror. There wasn't a ton of mirror matches. People just kind of like didn't really like to play this deck. They kind of wanted to just beat it. So, but some people did pick it up. It wasn't that too many though, and more deterrences for like just more annoying, good against creatures and things like that. And the Zombie Claws is actually relevant because all the creatures are Night Fix familiar. But yeah, this was Ironblood's list. He did really well. Like I said, I gave him the skeleton, and then he ran away with it and just like made this sort of monster. So I gave him the credit for it. He deserves a lot of credit. So shout outs to him. And let's gonna end this episode of our Page Over Master series. The next episode, we're gonna talk about the competitor against this deck, and which eventually became one of the most dominant decks in this season. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you next episode.